another episode on Heartfelt with Bobby, and today I am here with someone who's very familiar. I'm sure you guys know him, Mr. Maurice Matheka.
What's up?
Karibu sana Maurice.
Asante.
Nimekutafuta miaka na mikaka. Finally, I have you here.
Finally, we're here together. I've wanted to have this conversation for a long time too.
Oh, I love that.
So I'm glad I'm here.
Karibu sana. Thank you so much for honoring my invite.
Anytime.
So today I'd like for us to discuss the business of sex. When we talk about sex, we think about prostitution, but the business of sex, the industry of sex is vast and huge. There's so many people who benefit from this. There's social workers, there's speakers, coaches, doctors, so many people, doulas, there's so many sorts of people, erotic writers, filmmakers, relationship and intimacy coaches. And that's why I have Mr. Maurice here, because he's going to be telling us a little bit more about what he does, why he does it. I knew him as the king of squat, and I will explain. I'll explain a bit why I call him that. But Mr. Maurice, karibu sana.
Hey everyone, I'm super excited to share something amazing with you today. This video is brought to you by Lemfi, an incredible app that has become a game changer to families in the diaspora sending money to Africa. If you have friends or family in Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, or Uganda, Lemfi makes it very, very easy for you if you are living in the USA or Canada and you want to send money directly from your card. So the good thing about Lemfi is that you do not need to top up any wallet at all. And the best part is that there is zero transaction fees. Transfers happen in just under a minute. Lemfi offers competitive rates, which means you always get the best bang for your buck. If you download the app with my referral link or enter my referral code DWJ, I'll say that again, DWJ, at sign up and make your first transaction of over $100, you'll receive $20 cashback. And don't forget about the rewards program. You can earn points with every transfer you make. The more you send, the more points you accumulate. The best part, you can easily turn these points into cash for your next transfer. Thank you very much and welcome to DWJ Dialogues with Jagero again.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, today I'd like for us to talk about the business of sex.
Right.
You know, being in this sex industry, there's a lot of people doing a lot of different sorts of works.
Right.
And I'd like to talk about, you know, specifically what it is that you do and how you got into it. So maybe you could give us a little bit of history on how Mr. Squat, the Maurice, the Mr. Squat, was born and how he came to life and ended up in this space.
I kind of stumbled upon sexology. I was in the UK. I went there to do IT and management. My late dad was a marine engineer. He had 2 sons yet before my sister came a bit later. And the closest I could do was IT and management, with the IT, with programming and stuff like that. But after I finished my degree, I gave it to my late dad because I was not interested in that. I didn't see myself being a programmer or just not me. Yeah. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So it took me about a year and something. Like, I found the study of sexology, which really intrigued me. But to be honest, I was a young guy. I was in the UK. I'm a student. I thought, you know, sexology, the first word there's sex, I'm thinking, ooh, class is going to be very interesting.
How old were you around this time?
How old was I? God, I was 25 maybe. Yeah, about 25. Yeah, so I found sexology and I was like, wow, this is very intriguing. Didn't know much about it. Then I enrolled. There's like, how many of us enrolled? About 400. And then only 50 remained.
Why do you think so?
It's not because I don't think so. I know so.
Yeah.
Those who remain are the ones who are not driven by the moral authority of what we're taught. Morality is something that, you know, like, that's why we call them the moral police. They feel they've got morality, and especially if they come from a certain background, like, let's say many of them could be Christians or they could be Islamists or whatever. There are things that you can't hold on to if you want to expand your knowledge, especially when it comes to the sexual realm. Now, there's some people I see in comments going like, but you can be a sexologist as long as you have morals. That's why you're not a sexologist.
Yeah.
And I am.
Yeah.
Morals to me just means boring. You see what I'm saying? There's certain things that clearly I would not do in front of certain people. That's the morality I have. But there are people who go so deep until it becomes just boring. Life is boring. Like they add morals to their sexuality. Hence why they end up being...
Na sex aina morals.
Yes, I know morals.
Animals.
Yes, and sex that is raw, that is just about going the flow, ends up being much more fun than something that's too structured. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like the ones who want to have sex in a loving environment, whatever that looks like. Oh,
Maurice, please cut us some slack.
That is the most boring shit I've ever heard in my life. And guess what? Many of those are my clients. But by the time I finish having a session with them, because sometimes beyond the learning how to squirt session, I have sessions with my clients to teach them how to be different, even their mentality. And once they break loose of that love bubble that they've been in, that does not add any value to their sexuality, is when they're able to come back to me and tell me, now I get it. That's when you know you've done your job. You've not done your job by shouting things in people's throats and forcing them to do things. They have to have their moment. They have to have their aha moment. They have to have the, oh my God, I used to think sex should be like this. Like we used to do the whole romantic trips and romantic and petals, and I'll tell my man or my husband that, you know, wherever we go, I want petals on the bed and stuff like that. But Matheka, I still never had an orgasm. Then I'm almost trying to not be rude, because in my head I'm thinking, well, the petals are not going to help your G-spot memory, are they? Unless you shove them in your vagina and hope for the best. Your vagina did not know that you had lobster for dinner, and that the moon
that you
by
been
chance
fucked
was
in the
there.
Maldives.
Exactly. There you go. And in the imagine you go all the way to the Maldives for a man to showcase that he's very good at semen ejaculation and sleeping. What's the point? He could have done that in Nairobi. So the journey has been, when I got into sexology, did 2 years of gender psychology to understand how humans relate and the different patterns of relationships that we have other than just monogamy, and learned about when the churches came here with their religion, came here with their religion, which we have known for very few years compared to what Africans used to look like before that, came and diluted sexuality, made things like talking about sex taboo, made nakedness
weird.
Taboo. Yet nakedness is the first costume we have. It's what we are made of. Our nakedness should be showed off, not hidden. And then they did another thing. They said sex is sacred. Sacred? Sex is like ice cream. It's either going to be bad or good. It's like chocolate. It's either going to be bad or good. No one buys chocolate and goes like, oh my God, my chocolate bar is sacred. I'm going to eat 1 cube a year. Oh my God. That is the most boring shit I've ever heard. But that's how a lot of people treat sex.
Yeah.
Especially when a woman says, oh my God, I saved myself for the guy who's going to marry me. Wonderful. I think I used to watch that in cartoons and in Disney World. But when you grow up, you realize this is hogwash. Because the reason why we're having this conversation is because now she's saying, I saved myself for this guy, but I've never enjoyed sex. I've never enjoyed my sexuality. He seems to enjoy it because he has that built-in ability of being able to ejaculate semen. But I do not have an inbuilt ability to have an orgasm. So now she has to rethink everything she thought was going to be magical is not magical. And she has a partner who does not understand where she's coming from. He can't tell her, like, didn't you know, like, the way you're thinking, sexuality doesn't work that way? But he doesn't want to be rude, because that's her thing. And she's thinking, I want you to respect the fact that no other man touched me. I was untainted until you came along and you deflowered me. Even the words they use, so boring.
Snooze fest.
Yeah, it's because it's words that sound amazing on paper. It's words when you're watching what men called a chick flick, and you're seeing the romance and everything. But in reality, this is just a story that triggers certain things in our mind. But the truth of how she's going to end up enjoying her sexuality, it's for me to teach her about how that comes about. First, for her to understand her own body before he ever figures it out, because he might not figure it out. But until she gets there, and most of my clients are between 35 and 55. I mean, last year I taught a woman who's 75 how to squirt. Oh my God. She had one of the most beautiful vaginas I've ever seen. She's 74. And vaginas don't age. The only thing that ages your vagina is your mentality towards your entire body. But as women, you should be having sex until you're in your 80s and 90s. But in societal notions, in African notion, your vagina is decommissioned so early.
Where do you think these notions and these stories are coming from? Because as a woman existing in this society especially, this is the reality of, how we are socialized.
Right.
This is what we are taught. So it is not, at some point as an adult, I take responsibility and say, I can change my thinking and I can decide to learn better. But I can't necessarily blame the women who don't know better yet for how they reason.
Right.
But where do you think these notions are coming from, and how do you think we can start to denounce them?
Okay. This is how I see it, because this is where all these storytellings come from. If you go to any tribe in Kenya, whether you're Kamba like me, you're Luo, Luya, if you really dig deep and see where is this Luya custom or this Kamba custom coming from, it's not coming from an African perspective. It's coming from our colonial masters, what they told each tribe, that this is how they took a bit of what we used to be and added a lot of what they are. So even the morality bit, even the taboo-ness about sex, even the boot camps we used to have in all tribes. It's, I always find it funny when people talk about, women in Uganda, women in Rwanda, Burundi, blah, blah, blah. That used to be most of Africa. And I read some of those books when I was in the UK. Like even the squirting that I teach, I'm not teaching people anything new. I'm just bringing it back to where our sexuality used to be in those boot camps. So religion and our colonial master came and changed who we really are. I always say that my two grandfathers, who I got the pleasure of knowing, one was born in 1914, the other one was born in 1918. But they're not African to me. They're very British, even the way they dressed.
Even the accents, they used to have...
Now, who was African? Their grandfather. Not even their father, their grandfather. He's the guy I would like to go back in time and have a conversation about, because he will tell me about what sexuality used to look like, how our women were topless, but no one sexualized the human anatomy like we do today. And we sexualize it because we were told it's taboo, we're told it's sacred, and because we've got this veil, when we see a boob, we don't see boobs all the time. I don't know if you've ever gone to like a really indigenous, like tribal setting. I have. And when you go to that village, wow, you're humbled. Even somebody like me who talks about sexuality all the time, you're humbled because if I'm going to have an erection, I'm going to be the only guy in that village having an erection for no apparent reason. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Everybody else is semi-naked or naked. Women are just topless or whatever they're covering their vagina with. Suddenly it's on the floor and she enters the river and she's bathing. Are you seeing anyone oogling or anyone going like, oh my God, today that's the one I'm going to have? Nothing. But because I come from a city concrete dwelling, my skewed thinking is, this is strange. Yet this is what we existed millions of years ago, or for millions of years, compared to this Christian morality crap and our clothes that are Western.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? We've known these clothes for a very short time, yet we talk about them like they're innately ours. They're not. So I always say, whatever Africans used to look like, we only practice 1% of what we used to look like. You see? And that is where the problems come from. They came and relinquished what we used to look like. All our sexual boot camps, like Kambas used to have sexual boot camps. At least when I was younger, when I was studying, I was able to talk to people who are old enough to know that, yes, we had boot camps. Women were taught about sexuality, their bodies and stuff like that.
Yes.
And not the teachings that you hear about TZ where women are taught how to please the man. Now the woman's being taught about how to please herself,
body.
her own body. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Whereas when she has a sexual connection with a man, both of them get something out of it. Whereas when the religious part came in, it made it more about the masculine energy. It is your job.
is so
It is your
true.
duty to serve me. And that's why even today I always find out, oh, by the way, in 2 days' time, I'm turning 50.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Guys who are half my age are still thinking like fucking Neanderthals. They're thinking like they were born in 18-something. They're still skewered in, this mama, her job is to please me. Whether I please her or not, that's crap.
Yeah.
How can you be this young in 2025 and think like that?
It's that conservative colonialist mentality.
And we still
again.
have it.
And it's so crazy to see it in, the people who are 25 years old, 23 years old. It's so crazy considering they haven't mingled in person with these colonialists. So why are they thinking like that?
They're trying to look up to somebody, or they've been around older guys who have those old thought processes, and they're trying to mimic them. Because you have no excuse when you're in your 30s and 20s to think older than my own grandfather. You have no excuse.
Because you're a young guy.
Yes, you're a very young guy.
Yeah.
Yet we're having a debate. You're the one now telling me that your masculinity comes from the fact that you can tell her, hey, it's not my job to please you, it's your job to please me. And then they have to add in but Matheka, I'm the one who pays the bills. What's paying bills got to do with anything?
Yeah.
And that's why you find today, especially women who are independent, they have money, they drive, they've got things going on. When they meet such an attitude, they get another guy who facilitates for the attitude they like. Do you see what I'm saying? When you meet a woman who's in her 40s and she tells you, look, my husband will never fulfill some of the things that I want, and it's too late. It's not a blame game. I should have told him this a long time ago, but that ship left. So now I have a guy who does not have the kind of money my husband does, but what he does for me is whenever we meet up, he cooks for me. He serves me, Matheka. I love that. And there's a masculine energy he gives me that yet I know my husband is far more masculine than him. My husband can never give me that. Because the dynamic and the language and the sexual energy we have with my husband and what I have with this guy, they'll never be the same. But you see, when she was in her 20s, she was in this magical thing that her husband will be the entire package. And today, he's that guy who'll be like, babe, this is our 19th year together. Like, why the change?
Why would I eat your pussy right now?
Yeah, and
I've never done it.
And why am I entering the kitchen? Let's just start there.
Yes. Why should I? Why? Yeah.
There's even a time you told me, if I ever find you in the kitchen, you'll be taking my space. What's changed? What's changed is she's now grasping who she really is. Most people in their 20s have no idea who they are. That's why I always say, if I was to talk to my 20-something-year-old self, now that I'm turning 50, I would tell that guy, you are not a Masimba. I know you thought you were, but you're not. Yeah, because sexuality for me now is far better than when I was in my 20s. Yes. Yet we're told that the best years of our lives are the youthful ones.
That's your peak.
That is when you're going to have the most amazing sex. And that's hogwash. I started having amazing sex when I started having white hair. Right over there.
Do you think it's an ageism thing? Where like they kind of try to make all of us, both men and women, feel like the older we get, the more useless and ugly and boring and that
definitely. Just to answer the question when we were talking off camera, and that's why people start aging themselves. Like when you asked me, what do I feel turning 50? If you had asked me that when I'm in my late 20s, I'd be like, oh my God, 50 is so old. I should be preparing, to leave the world and blah, blah, blah. Whereas at some point you realize, hold on, most people don't even believe I'm turning 50. They always say you must be between 39 and 42. Yesterday somebody told me I look 35. And I'm like, yes, but I look that way because my attitude about age changed a long time ago. My attitude towards the people who are in my life, good energies. I have a mix of young guys I hang out with and older guys I hang out with. But all of them give me the energy that I need. But I also keep away from people who are too conservative, because they're going to taint my liberalness. They really are.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm going to have to fib them off. So I'd rather not.
Okay, that's interesting. But I want to take it back to, Nyuma Kidogo.
Yes.
So tell us, what is sexology? This thing you went to study, what is
Wow.
it about?
It's about...
And what were you guys studying in school? Mlikuwa mnafundishwa nini? Anatomy ama kudinyana?
No, we started with gender psychology, understanding how humans relate, how our brains perceive the different relationships that we're supposed to be in. If you look at monogamy, which is driven by the manufactured whole sanctity of marriage, yeah, which is well manufactured by human beings.
I actually have a question for you on that, but I'll ask it a bit later.
And then you go into now the sexual realm, where you understand about our arousal zones, what turns us off, fetishes. And fetishes are, God, they're so abundant. But the problem is, I always find when traditional couples come together, they don't discuss fantasies, they don't discuss fetishes, they forget who they are. So those are the kind of things that we learned. And then back then, which I hear nowadays they don't do because of all this wokeness crap, we used to have subjects. So subjects will come into class, and is when you get to know about the vagina. Like
they'd come pause naked?
yes. And then you get to see the actual anatomy, how it works. You get to touch to understand. Like, unless I touch where the G-spot membrane is, I'll never know. And a plastic prop can never teach me that.
Because it's not real, it's not accurate.
It's not just real. It can't gain the spasms that I'm supposed to have an aha moment with. You see, if I'm learning about pinching somebody and I'm using plastic, it doesn't matter how long I pinch it, it's not going to go out.
Yeah.
But if I pinch a human and you're wired to some technology that can measure why you went ow, then I'm able to understand, now I understand between soft touch, hard touch, pinching, stabbing, spanking. You can only do that with anatomy. Now, remember the moral authority crap?
Yes.
Yeah. Class went to 50 people because of this. Oh, no. I can't touch a naked body. And why are you naked in front of everyone? Oh, my God,
That's vulgar.
Sodom and what is it? Sodom
Gomorrah.
There you go. I don't even know the fucking names. And I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But guess what? All those people who had that mentality are now my clients, because I can see they are. Like, wow, I was in class with somebody who thought like you, and now you need me to get you out of that thought process. So that went on. Qualified in 2022. And I've never looked back. Then eventually came back to Kenya after the Kibaki. Kibaki came to England and really convinced us that Kenya is going to change for the best and everything. And lived there for 11 years. And, well, I don't regret the move.
Yeah.
What I should have done is maybe researched more on where Kenya was going. Because when I came here, it was not easy to transition. One, Kenyans didn't know what a sexologist is. Lucky I got a gig on radio. I was at Capital for 2 years on radio. Then I used to give free sessions to women groups just to talk. Forget even the vagina thing. Just talking about, just answering their questions. So like, I'd call you and go like, get some of your friends together, get a venue, I'll come there and I'll speak for free. And you guys can have like baseline questions, like 10, and then those questions will just drag other topics and stuff like that. And we have a chat for about 1 or 2 hours. So I did that for a while. And then what works in Kenya best, rather than advertising, is word of mouth. So I started getting all these bookings. And then at some point, I was being paid for it. Because now I could charge. Now I'm like, wow. Then cheeky me, was it 2008? I can't remember the exact year when Facebook came. There's something I said. There's a post I made. I said
2008?
2008, 2009. I think around when Facebook now launched. I remember I did something because I was manifesting it, but people didn't understand what the hell that was. I said on Facebook that one day I will be the authority in sexuality. You can imagine the comments that came after that post.
Who made you God?
Who
Who said you can?
Oh,
Who do
they
you
huffed
think
and
you
puffed.
are?
They huffed and puffed. But me being me, I said, you know what? Some of you, with your little comments, are going to be my clients later in life. And funny enough, there's one guy, he has a name you can never forget. This is a dude. That guy abused me. I think he abused me for about 3-4 years after that post. Whenever I'd post something, I'd be sure his comment was there, and it was very abusive.
He was a fan at this point.
Yes. So, funny enough, we end up being in a WhatsApp group together, and the guy says, "Hey, bro, can I call you?" I said, "Yeah, call me." He said, "Bro, I don't know if you know me." I said, "I know your name. You have you have abused me for years." He said, "Yes. However, I've learned so much from you." That made me think, you know what? There's no such thing as enemies. You have to talk long enough for people to say, you know what? You've gone from a quirk to somebody who I can actually listen to. I actually do not blame the people who asked me, who made you God? I don't blame them. Do you know why? No one knew me. I wasn't credible enough to have a voice. Yeah. And then I suddenly say something which triggered people to go like, now what is this idiot saying? I don't even blame them. And they're the ones who fired me to continue. First, be consistent, and then deliver on the things you say you can do. Otherwise, go do something else. Do you see what I'm saying? To date, I've now conditioned 6,649 vaginas. Wow. No one can take that away from me. Now, I'm great at what I do. I used to be good. But the greatness came from a passion of understanding what the vulva does. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't have clients coming from the US, UK, Australia, Rwanda, Uganda, SA, Estonia, to come to Kenya to have a session with somebody who cannot deliver. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. I charge 55,000 to condition the vagina. Her flight to Kenya was double that or triple that. Then she has to get hotel, blah, 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 blah. Her investment is based on, because I will ask a client, like, you've come from so far. How did you know I was going to help you? She said, I've listened to you enough to know what you can do and what you can't do. So when I booked that ticket, I knew you were the one to help me. Yeah. One, because the countries most of them are coming from, they have sex therapists who are just next to them, in the next city. Whereas here you're flying basically 8, 12, 15 hours to come to Kenya because you listened to some guy on YouTube or wherever you saw me saying, this is what I do and I can help you. And people just like, wow. Like there's one client, she came just a few weeks ago from the US, and she told me she has an instinct about people. So she watched one of my videos and she was like, that's the guy who's going to change my sex life.
She felt it just from watching.
And she booked the flight and she came to Kenya and we spent a few nights together. And now she understands her body like never before. But you see, sometimes you resonate things that other people see that you yourself don't see because, you know, sometimes I don't take myself too seriously. I used to back then. But when now you know you're good at something, you're just
doing your stuff.
You just do your stuff. Yeah. You're not trying to prove anything to anyone.
Yeah.
Because that bit is already, that I know I'm good at. But I still want to learn so much more. And that's the thing about me. I always because I always get like young people telling me, okay, this is my niche. How do I get better? Blah, blah, blah. One of the things I always tell people is the day that it's good to tell people you're great at something, but the day you start telling yourself that you're now the greatest and the best and nothing will ever stop you, is the day you stop learning. And when you stop learning, you still start thinking the way you used to think 20 years ago. So you start to fail. So there's always space.
For improvement.
Always. Yeah, and the vagina for me is becoming more and more beautiful. Yet I've seen it for so long. Because people ask me, don't you get tired of seeing vaginas?
I was going to ask you, do you think it helps you create a newfound respect and appreciation for women's bodies in general and just for
your bodies, yes. For your psychology, that's a totally different episode. Very different. I think the men who are listening know exactly what I mean by that. Your bodies are beautiful. Your vaginas are beautiful. Luckily, I don't always have to deal with your psychologists. I only do that when I'm mentoring you as an individual or as couples, but that's the ugly side of humans.
Oh, Maurice.
No, your day-to-day attitudes can be terrible, but your vagina's beautiful. Perfect.
I like that we, dived into the money a bit. So I want to ask you about pricing and, just how you settled in and decided this is how I'm going to make an earning.
Yes.
So how did you decide on pricing? Because I've not heard of many other sexologists in Kenya. Maybe there are, but I just haven't heard of them. Maybe I'm the one who's ignorant.
Okay.
I'd like to know, how do you set up your pricing and how do you decide? And what template are you using? Because this is something that is new in Kenya. Even conversations around sex, like we said right now, in Africa are very taboo as compared to maybe other places. So how do you come up with this whole model that sets you up to be able to earn from something that Africans and Kenyans specifically are so afraid to talk about?
Okay. How do I break this down? First, let's get the myths out of the way. Kenya is not a conservative country sexually. Most of Europe has got nothing on Kenya. I can tell you that because I traveled Europe. I went on holidays in my hoish days when I was in England. And trust me, I had...
Are you not hoeing anymore?
Well, I am, but not to the degree I used to. Right now, it really can't be fussed. I'd rather go fishing or play with my dogs. But in my whole days, I traveled a lot.
Yeah.
And my whole days were about just sampling vaginas from different parts of the world. So that now I'm able to say...
Women from Sicily.
There you go.
Women from Thailand.
From Sweden, from Spain, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
I hope that you are enjoying that episode, people of the internet. Everybody says there is no job, and that is true. Also, that was me 10 years ago. The problem is that everybody is trying to get a job in their own town, in their own city, in their marketplace. They ask friends for jobs, mothers call uncles, uncles call fathers, but there are no jobs, right? Let me tell you what no one is telling you. Jobs migrated online. What I actually mean is there are many, many jobs around the world and there is no one to do them. I have worked for a long time online, I think more than 10 years. I work for Americans, I work for Europeans, I work for the Chinese, the Australian, Canadians, the Ugandans, name all of them. And last year, I had a eureka moment. I said to myself, you know what? I should compile what I have been doing for the last 15 years. So in 2024, I wrote a book called Gold Mine, 18 Side Hustles for Africans. And it sold a lot of copies. In fact, I was going for, sometimes I was receiving 500 orders in a day. In 2025, something happened. AI came. I think in 2025, AI came. AI came in 2024, but in 2025, it is here with us. And people say AI is taking away their jobs. And for me, I'll say false. There are actually AI jobs. Now, mimi ni nani? I created more jobs. We now have in my book 25 online and offline side hustles that you can do anywhere in the world, whether you are in the village, whether you are in your small town, whether you're in a marketplace, whether you are in your house, you can do them. In this powerful volume 2, I share 25 new actionable online hustles specifically researched and tailored for Africans. My new book provides clear step-by-step guidance, drawing from my extensive experience and research, including the mistakes I have made, and lessons I have learned over 15 years in this online job market. You can become an executive assistant to busy folks in Europe, America, and Canada. You can also get paid for tasks like watching videos and taking online surveys. There are many of them, and they're in my book. You can also build a business as a virtual assistant, start an e-commerce without a shilling. You can also become an affiliate marketer or an online English tutor. And you can also do tens of AI jobs, and they're all in these books. If you have a job, that is fine, but I know around you there are so many people that are always looking for jobs and at home watching Netflix. Buy this book for your brother, for your sister, for your mother, cousin, husband, who is back at home all day, all night watching Netflix. Okay? Buy it for your friend. That friend who is always asking you for cash, you can buy this book for them. All the information is in the description below. You can also inbox me, you can WhatsApp me, or you can go to my website, which is oduorjagero.co.ke. The book is only 1,000 Kenya shillings. Or if you're anywhere around the world, the book is $10. So thank you very much. Back to programming.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was the question again?
About the pricing and the money.
How I did it was, I asked myself, who else is in my space? Yes, there are others who talk about sex, who talk in groups and stuff like that, and all of us are trying to help. One thing I do is, anyone who's talking about sexuality, I support them because they're trying to help somebody. However, what I do know is, nobody in this region can do what I do. That's for a fact. And now I'm also learning, even a lot of sex therapists who are in other parts of the world can't do what I do. Hence why I have a client who came all the way from the US or Canada. She could have gone somewhere else. When somebody comes all the way from Australia, she could have gone to an Australian one. She probably did, but that person failed them, and I didn't. But then again, I ground myself because I'm not a believer of I'm the shit. I'm a believer of I just do my shit.
I know
you
what
see
you
the difference?
mean. Yeah.
Exactly. So I price based on I'm the only one who can give this service. And my international clients do tell me like, you're even cheaper than the Australian guy, but you helped me. So that doesn't make me feel okay, fine. Maybe I should be higher. I wanted to, let's put it this way. Women have money. You guys have money.
True.
Yes. It just depends on what you spend it on. I've had a client who went for vagina symmetrical surgery to make her vagina more beautiful. And what the surgeons didn't tell her is all that tightening was going to basically interfere with her arousal zones. So her vagina stopped having spasms. So her husband, after they paid $13,000, again, I say $13,000, her vagina looked very beautiful, but it was non-functional. So she had to come to me. We did 4 sessions to reverse what had happened, but it worked. So my pricing is based on what's affordable for a lot of people, hopefully, or even if you have to save for it, if it's worth it, it's worth it. It's still cheaper than going on holiday just to Mombasa. It's still cheaper. But in Mombasa, you're not squirting. You're not having orgasms. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? Unless somebody's conditioning your vagina on the plane, which they're not. Yeah, so I know that some people say, oh my God, it's pricey. But you've got a scarcity mentality. That's not my problem.
The people who are willing to pay are looking for you.
Yes. And they know what the service is going to give them. Versus somebody who's on the fence going like, oh, is it worth it? That's not my client. My client is a person who's going like, this is definitely worth it because it's going to help my sex life for a very long time. Do you see? That's the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So what has the reception of you being in the sex industry in Kenya especially?
Kenya's amazing. Ask me why.
Why?
Kenyans love fucking.
Tell me more.
Oh, Kenyans. Oh, Kenyans.
sorry to cut you.
Yeah.
So Kenyans are very excited when it comes to sex and,
Yeah.
fucking and stuff.
Yes.
But online we're seeing something different.
What are we seeing online?
Oh, watu wanaongeanga kwa comments wakisema wacha kuongea juu ya sex, you're vulgar, Matheka, why are you always talking about sex? Why is sex the only thing you talk about?
Okay.
Sex.
Okay, you need to understand. Sometimes when somebody is fighting you, they're actually fighting themselves. They're fighting a piece of themselves that can never talk about sex the way I do. And it's not just me. Whenever you listen, look, one thing about us Kenyans is we need to remove this negative aspect of us. If you post something positive for Kenyans, oh my God, I was in Mombasa, I found love. Mtachana tu.
Wasichana wa Mombasa.
Yes. Yet they do not know what you could have. You could have bought a puppy. All I said is I found love.
Yes.
Maybe I bought a puppy, or I went to Mombasa and bought the car of my dreams.
Yeah.
That's become. But immediately they've put two people together. We're going to break this relationship, and I'm going to make that comment. And guess what? A lot of people have been hurt by other human beings. So whenever they hear you say something positive or something that's out of reach for them, they have to beat you down. Many of my clients have told me, Matheka, I'm having a session with you here, but my friends will never believe that you and I are in the same space. Because according to my friends, I don't even like you. I always say, oh, Matheka has no morals. As I save his number. Okay.
As I send him M-Pesa.
Yeah.
To
Why?
book a session.
Because they're trying to put on a face of conservativeness. I'm a church girl. I'm a Catholic girl. And then there's the other girl who calls, Matheka, when can we have a session? And I'm thinking, why are you whispering? Are you in a room with other people? No. But you're whispering because you think society is listening. Because you've been taught that no, calling Matheka is not the right decision. Do you see what I'm saying? Because there are clients of mine, even when we're having the session, they're like, I can't believe I'm here. But later on, she tells you, wow, I'm glad I came for that session. It's even my own friends are like, wow, you're glowing. Like, you're happy.
Yeah.
Yes, because you were closed off before. You put it in your mind that you have to be this kind of a woman, behave like this. And I'm thinking, no, that's what's killing you. That's what's making you look old. You're not old. It's your mentality that's making you look old. And then she starts wearing boots. She's 45, 48. She starts wearing nice, tight dresses. And young men are like, wow. And she's saying, oh my God, Matheka, I went to this place and all these men made me feel like a young girl again. And I'm like, wow, that's what I'd like to do for a woman. But when I met you, because I usually tell my client, the woman who walked in when I met you versus the woman you are today, two different women.
Yeah.
Even sometimes I can see it from when she walks in for a session, 2, 3, 4 hours later, as the session ends, she's the one telling me, I feel like a renewed woman. Because she's learned so much other than the physical part of learning how your vagina is conditioned. The conversation we've had has had many moments where she's like, oh my God, it's my thinking that's destroying me. I need to change that. But yet, she did have voices telling her, everything you've been taught is crap. But she couldn't fight. She couldn't fight who she's been taught to be. She fought the voices in her head that have been telling her, that's not who you are, and that's not what you wanted to say. That's not the dress you wanted to wear. And no, you wanted to go to that club with your girls, but you said, no. I'm a mother of two. Mother of two? So what if you're a mother of two?
Yeah.
How come men...
You're also a sexual being.
Yes, and how come men are not saying, I'm a father of 5, I can't go clubbing? This father of 5 is out clubbing guys who are half his age. Why is that allowed?
True.
And you see, it's hogwash because let's assume women are supposed to be in this sanctity of purity and morality and stuff like that. Who the fuck are we going to fuck in Naivasha? Me and my boys.
Each other.
There you go. There you go. Roberta, that's why I like you. You see, you've understood where I was going with that story. If all women held hands and said, you know what, from now, henceforth, we are morally right in this and that, blah, 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 yeah. All the boys would be in Naivasha with just boys.
Yeah, the way they say, women should be like, but where are you guys practicing then?
Who is saying this?
Yeah.
And who is practicing?
Yeah.
And what I found out in society is the most moral people, when they decide to be immoral, they do things that I'm like, damn.
Even I can't do that.
Even I can't do that, kid. What rock have you crawled under? It's the people with this moral thing.
Yeah.
What they're doing is they're fighting you because they're thinking, I wish I was you. I wish I could talk about this thing. I wish I could have your experience. It's like when you ask me what's exciting about my birthday. First thing I said is not my cake. I've had cake for years since I was a kid. But what I would like to see in my birthday, which I've seen before, is I wouldn't mind seeing a striptease. I wouldn't mind seeing a male and a female actually having sex in front of me. Because then I'll be there just watching, enjoying, and studying as I sip my drink.
Can I be invited to this
Oh, would you like to come?
birthday?
And will you come if I invite you?
I will, actually.
You will?
Yeah, I've never watched,
Okay.
I mean, I think I am into voyeurism, but like...
You're in. You're invited.
Thank you.
You're in.
Thank you.
You're invited.
So, as we conclude this conversation, what would you say to someone who's watching and they'd love to penetrate this this sex industry?
That's why I love her. The word she uses penetrates the sex industry. Okay.
Someone who's also trying to find their niche, trying to find their pricing.
Right.
And is it lucrative? Do you think we need more Mathekas,
Yes.
more writers, more filmmakers, more
Yes.
actors, more coaches, more all these sorts of people, sex workers, even by extension, maybe.
Yes.
Do you think we need to have an actual industry where we're recognized? Because there's also something I feel like, as someone who writes about sex and speaks about sex a lot as well.
Right.
Kuna shadow banning flani ina happen. Social media, where if you're trying to put your work out there, even as educational, it's just flagged as porn, as sex. Nobody cares that Matheka is trying to show people how to squat.
Yes.
It's just flagged because we don't want to see your sex stuff on the timeline.
Right.
So maybe speak a bit about that and then tell us, for someone who's trying to penya this industry, do you think it's lucrative? Do you think they should look into, trying to learn more and get into it? How do you feel?
Is there money to be made? For sure. I think one of the things you need to look at is this. People fail because they care what other people think.
True.
Stop caring about what other people think. Do what your conscious mind is telling you to do. Now, to the platforms you're talking about, I don't blame the platforms because everyone's there. And the majority are the ones who are going to fight us. They're the ones who don't want to see a certain thing on the feed. I thought YouTube was more strict than TikTok. I'm learning TikTok is strict.
Yeah.
Because I get those warnings all the time. And then I have to, what is it?
You get restricted.
Yeah, but then I have to...
appeal.
Yeah, appeal to it.
Yeah.
And then the appeal goes through. But then I'm thinking, hold on. When I review that, there's nothing I said that was vulgar other than I could have said vagina, which is the anatomical terminology of like this is a nose, this is the eyes, vagina.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a scientific word for that region, but it's flagged. So now there's some videos where I'm talking about the secret garden. Now, the ones who follow me know exactly what I'm talking about, but somebody who's new may be thinking, what does he mean by secret garden?
Yeah.
And then when they see some of my facial expressions, then they're like, that's what he meant. But they don't know why I had to say secret garden instead of vagina. So some of these platforms are not going to digest everything we want to say. But I think what you need to do is look at the platform where you're laying a seed and the platform where you can now divert them for them to get the full meal. Now, for me, the full meal is when we have a session.
Okay.
Whether it's an individual, whether it's a couple, whether it's a group session. Like next month, I've been invited to go to Kilifi to talk to a group. Very excited. And I'm going to go there with my model. So we're going to showcase how a woman gets to squirt. But all this comes from a few snippets of things that I say that insinuate something, but I've not really said it. But my potential client understood what I'll say. It's the only way you can navigate social media, unless now you start your own website where you can basically load whatever videos. But now the problem is you now have to get the people on all the other platforms to go to your website. So the best thing is, personally, I've not experienced it, but I hear Telegram is a very good place to post almost anything.
Oh yeah, true. That's
Yes.
where all the videos are.
Now, is X the same?
Yes, on X as well, you can post.
So on X, you can also be quite gruesome because X has porn.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw
Full-blown,
that.
even hardcore,
Exactly.
should I?
Yeah, so they're not going to start sending you all these messages where you have to
Warnings.
appeal and stuff. So look at the platform that best suits your content and stick to that platform and become a king of that platform. Now that we're talking about X, I'm not actually very active on X, to be honest. But all the other platforms are working for me in terms of I'm able to plant that seed, and then my potential clients are able to get the message, and then they give me a call. They inbox me, and then we get into it. So yes, there's money to be made. There's money to be made as long as, first and foremost, people need to see that you're passionate about it. You need to be consistent. Because you need to be very consistent, and a lot of people who think they should be employed for the rest of their lives, the problem with them is, I'm sure even in their dreams, they have thoughts of things they could do, but then they tell themselves, I can't do that. I don't have that courage. Oh, that's not me. Oh, no, that's a topic. It's in my head, but I can't talk about it because what if my mother sees the video? You know what? I've seen porn stars buy their mothers big, lavish mansions.
The moms are never complaining when they're
The
in
mums,
those houses.
and not only that, forget porn stars who are in Europe. I've met women in Kenya who are considered the high-end prostitute. She's bought her dad this, mom this, cars this, take them on holiday. Do you think the parents are complaining? Do you think they're bothered?
I don't think so.
No. So sometimes what's bothering you is how you're perceiving your existence, your life. Do what works for you. All the people who you think are going to judge you, when you start benefiting them, they're going to be going like, well done. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like even today, remember when you could not tell your dad or your mom that you want to be a DJ? Now everyone's a DJ, both men and women. And some of the girls, when they're DJing, to be honest, sometimes if I'm watching YouTube and I'm watching like a DJ, whatever, I'd rather watch a female DJ who's good. Because around her there's going to be other pretty girls and stuff like that. But there's no way. Sometimes you go to somebody's house, they're watching a video of a DJ, but he's just one dude.
Yeah.
I can't watch one dude for an hour. One dude.
Na kama mix in a bamba.
Sorry?
Kama mix in
Okay.
a bamba.
You know what? People are going to hate me for this, but I'll give a shit. During COVID, I couldn't stand Grouchy. Not because he's not a good DJ. I'm not used to watching a man for 1 hour. It's not something that appeals.
Yeah.
If Grouchy had other figures behind him, like some of the Amapiano DJs, I'll get with that because my eyes will sway where they need to be. Hey, DJ, do your thing, but my eyes need to loiter around. But when I just have to watch a DJ getting excited by himself, that does not work for me. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. And guess what? I told some of my male friends, and they're like, yeah, we think like you, but we can't say it aloud. And I'm thinking, wow, so you're pretending you're enjoying this
Because everyone else
is doing it. No, stop doing that.
Yeah.
Sometimes just say, you know what, he's actually a good DJ, but I just wish there were other images around him that appeal to me. Like, I can't watch a dude for an hour.
He was social distancing.
Yeah, I get that, but you know what? There could have been a chick at least 1.5 meters behind him.
Oh my goodness, Maurice.
In a mask. Who cares? But at least she's there. Like, I can't. I just can't. And I know there are many guys who think like me, but it's just having the balls to say, I don't like this.
Yeah. I'd like to conclude our conversation because tukiendelea hatutamaliza. Thank you so much for joining me today.
It's been a pleasure.
I truly have enjoyed the conversation, you know.
So have I.
A lot of the times we don't look at the business side of things. We just think this guy, maybe, I'm sure there's people who look at you and they think this guy is a pervert or
Right.
this guy is,
And I don't mind them
just
calling me a pervert.
thinking about sex all the time. But they don't think about the side of life where you're actually helping people achieve something and you know, love themselves more in turn. Because once pleasing your body is a very great expression of love for yourself. And this is something we're not taught right now. Venye umesema colonialists walikuja wakararua all that away from us. So I think it's beautiful the work that you're doing. And I truly appreciate your efforts towards, you know, making especially women realize their orgasms. And maybe we can come back and have another session
for sure
time and talk about
we're gonna have many
these
more
orgasms and squatting.
Of course. Oh yes.
Because I'm sure kwa comments watu wataniambia, you've not asked him about squatting enough. But don't worry, guys. I got you. I'm gonna bring him back for that conversation. So is there something you'd like to say or something you'd like to ask me as we conclude? You don't have to, but
how's your vagina doing?
my vagina.
Does she squirt?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. That's amazing.
But she's very lonely.
Okay.
You know.
Right.
I'm just using my toys.
Right.
I mean, I'm not complaining. It's safer.
No,
it's amazing. I'm happy, but like,
and that's the
it could
thing.
be better if I had.
You didn't have to say you're
Yeah.
not complaining because the default setting should not be you having a man. The default setting is, one, you're enjoying it.
Yes.
Whether it's a toy, a man, those should be the bonuses. First should be your vagina happiness. Anything outside that is a bonus. So I know why you had to say, I'm not complaining, because it's assumed that you should have a man for your vagina to be happy.
Clock that.
Yet I meet so many vaginas who have a man and they're not happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't add any value unless we actually understand what your vagina needs. So
I like that you said that. I like that you said that actually. Yeah.
Do you?
Thank you. Thank you from me and my happy vagina.
Fantastic.
Guys, I have been your host here on Heartfelt with Bobby with the Maurice Matheka, and we've been discussing the business side of sex. Thank you so much for joining us throughout the hour. If you have any questions or any feedback for him, please leave for us in the comments. And where can we find you on social media, Maurice, in case we want to book you?
Instagram, on X, on Facebook, but Instagram is where I'm most active. And on TikTok as well. TikTok has really helped.
What's your username?
It's Maurice Matheka. Very simple.
Okay.
It's Maurice Matheka. One word.
Yeah.
You'll find me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And guys, we're just about to hit the 100K mark on YouTube. So we would absolutely love it if you continue to share our podcast, share our shows, watch us, like us, leave for us the feedback, and keep subscribing so that to fike your 100K mark so that we can get the plaque and display it here and be very excited about it all the time. But I'd love to thank you guys so much for your support so far, and thank you for sitting with us throughout the hour. Until next time.
Cheerio.